Welcome to Code with Kurt, the channel that brings you the latest Google Sheets and Google Apps Script videos. In today's video, we're going to be talking about web apps and filtering Google Sheets. So in this example, I got a Google Sheet here that I am displaying in a web app here. And I do have a previous video of how I did this just to show the data, and you can catch it on the tag above. But in this example, we're going to be filtering the data. And I do have another previous video where I did a web app reports using the query function in Google Sheets. That works pretty good, except you can't do multiple users for that. So in this example, this will work better for multiple users using this at the same time. So in this example, I'm just searching all the data, and I'm pulling back the rows of something that's within the row. So if I search, let's say red, hit search, I'm going to get the rows that come back with red. Now I'm going to search nothing again, get all the rows back. Now if I search 340, I'm going to get the rows that have 340 in them, like that. So that is one example of filtering. In this next example, I'm going to show you how we could take two things here. Say these are the most important things we want to filter. We're going to do color and miles. So I could go ahead here and hit red here and do a search. Let's go pull back the colors of red, and I can also do a miles search of, say we just want to do 10,000. So now I got this one row. So here I got two examples. One, I'm doing just two separate columns that I'm searching within. And then the first example was I'm searching the entire table and just looking for certain letters or numbers within the data and pulling back those rows. So I'll take you through a step-by-step process of how I put this together. Both examples, I'll show you both of them, how I put them together. If you're new to this channel, subscribe to catch my latest videos. Let's get started with this video. Here I have my Google spreadsheet set up here. I got it named Web App Filter Google Sheet. I have my sheet name as data below here, and I have my table here of data. Now here's my header record of color, year, miles, model name, and model make name. And my data is below that. There is no formulas in here. It is just data. So next I'll move in, and I'm going to use both of my examples with this data. So next I'm going to go to Tools, Script Editor. I'm going to give my project a name. Web App Filter Google Sheet, same as my sheet name. I'm going to hit OK. Next I'm going to copy in my Google App Script code. There I have it copied. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to create my first HTML page. I'm going to call this FilterWhole, which is the same as this name above here. Hit OK. Next I'm going to create my second HTML page. Hit File, HTML, or hit New, File, New HTML file. I'm going to hit Filter Headers. Hit OK. So I got my two HTML pages created. I'm going to go back to my FilterWhole page. I'm going to copy in my HTML code here. I have it pasted. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to go to my Filter Headers page. And I'm going to copy in the code here for my filters headers. So now I have it copied. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to post both the HTML and Google App Script code below the video in the comments section, so you can copy and paste it as well. Alright, the first thing I'm going to start with is my Google App Script code here. And you notice I have some of this code that is marked out. I'm doing both my examples with the same code. So the first one I'm going to be doing is the filter by headers, and that's where I was filtering by the color and the miles. And in my second example, I'm going to go through is the filter hole, and that's where I search the entire Google sheet and pull back rows. So let's go with the filter headers first. So first I got this do-get, which is a Google Apps Script standard function. This gets your web app started. So when I hit publish, deploy web app, this thing runs. It's the first thing it runs. And what it's doing is it's creating a template from file, and it's calling my filter headers file. And from there I'm going to pass a parameter to the sheet, kind of like a post, of miles and color. I'm going to set these to blank right now. And then I'm going to do an evaluate, which means return evaluate, which is going to render my HTML file here. So, and I'm doing this create template from file, and that's going to allow me to do my templated HTML. It's going to allow me to do my tagging within the HTML to do my Google Apps Script. So next I'm going to go over my headers file. So here's the basic start of my HTML. I got my headers tag, and now I'm within my body, and I got a header record of web app filter headers. I'm doing a call here. This is my Google Apps Script code within my tags here. So I'm doing a parameter of table data, and I'm calling this get sheet data. So basically I'm getting I'm going to go over to that function, which is down here, get sheet data. I'm setting up my spreadsheet with SS. I'm setting my data sheet, which is my sheet name of data. So if I go over here, I got my sheet name of data. I'm setting the range. I'm saying get data range, so I'm getting all the data, all the populated cells here basically. I'm setting my range of everything that's populated, and then from there I'm getting my values, and my values is an array of the range. So how this array works is it's a multi-dimensional array. So my first row will be 0, my second row will be 1, 2, and then within 0 here I have another array of color, year, miles, mile name, and make name. And then my row 2 would be red, 1995, 10,000 Camry and Toyota, and so on. So that's my multi-dimensional array. And that's where I return back to my HTML page. That's my whole of headers. Here's where I'm at. Next thing I'm doing is I'm getting the URL of my sheet that I currently have up, which would be my file headers HTML file. I'm getting the URL of that. That way I can put that in with my form command for my post. So that calls another function down here. And this is a standard Google Apps Script function here of script app get service get URL. This will get me my current URL of the sheet that I have pulled up, my HTTP address. So that's going to pull back, and I'm setting that into my action on my form. So then when I submit this, that's the URL that's going to be called in the post, and then it'll take me to my do post function. And I'll get to that later, but I'm going to show you the setup I have here. I have color. Color is my label, and then color is my name as my input. And I'm showing a value here, and I'm showing these tags. So when I push those values in on the do get here, blank and blank, I'm bringing those in as nothing to start out with. So the value of this input box will be nothing, and the value of miles will be nothing here. And then I have my submit button here. I have call it search, and then this is search. Right here is my button name. So my next clause here is if color is not equal to nothing and miles is not equal to nothing. And again, I have this in the tag, so this is Google Apps Script code. So initially this will not hit because I'm sending in blanks again. So it's going to bypass all this code down here until it says else, and then I'm going to set my table data, which is my array of all my data right here, to the output array, which is another array. So I'm just kind of setting it to here. And then from there, I'm displaying it. So here's my table tags. And within there, I got my for loop, which is going through the higher level rows of my array. And then if I get to the first row, which was my header record, and that equals 0, it's the first one. We start with 0, going through my array. And now I'm going to go through each header record. And each header record, I'm going to give it the th tag. So I have to do another for loop for my second dimension of my array here. So I'm using I as my outer and j as my inner. And I'm outputting the value here with my output array. And then I got an else clause here, so any row after 0 goes through here, which will get the th tags, which is the normal column tags from a table. Again, cutting through the second part of the dimension of the array. And then that's where I close it up with these rows here, the tr here. So that displays all my records of the table. So how the filter works is if I enter data here for color or miles, and then I hit the search button. So that's going to take me over here to my do post here. I got a logger here. This shows the output data that's coming in, and you can view that here by doing a view logs here. But then within that, I'm doing another create template from file, which is file headers. So I'm calling my sheet back again. But this time I'm sending the miles value in and the color values in that I set on the input boxes here. So I'm sending that back. I'm going to call this basically HTML file again, but except I'm going to send the color and miles back in that I filled out. And then I'm going to evaluate it. So again, it's going to come through here. Now it's going to populate color in my input box and miles in my input box, but then also is going to call this part of the code here if color is not equal nothing or miles is not equal nothing. So again, then I'm setting my output array right here as blank. Then I'm doing a function call of my table data. Again, table data is the array of all my data. I'm doing a for each, and I'm calling a function within that, getting the value in the index. So again, if it's index 0, I'm pushing the value. The value would be my entire row of the array. So I want to put my header record in on my output array. So I'm going to push that. That's going to be the first thing. I'm always going to want my header record. And then my next clause for the next row that it's doing the for each, my next row, so index is greater than 0, my color, say I'm populating color and miles, so I want to do a comparison with both, so it has to equal both. So the value of 0, since 0 is my first column of every row I got here, so I'm using the 0, I'm converting that to lowercase, so this is not going to be, it's not going to be case sensitive, because I'm going to convert both to lowercase. That way if I type in red in lowercase or uppercase, it's going to work the same. Color is my input. I'm going to turn that into lowercase and see if those equal. And I'm going to go with miles here too. So value number 2, which is 0, 1, 2, miles is my third column, equals miles, what my input. Then I'm going to push that row in here. And then my next two examples is, again, index, the row number is greater than 0. It's not my header record. And just say I did color here. It's not equal to nothing. Then I'm going to do this. And say I just populated miles. Then I'm going to evaluate this. I'm going to check if it equals to miles or color here. And I'm going to push that on. So now I got just the array I want to display here. And again, I cycle through here to display the output array to show the rows I just filtered. So that goes through that explains all the code through my filter arrays if I'm just doing by color and miles. So the second part is my filter by whole here. So I'm going to comment this and this, and I'm going to uncomment this and this. Okay, so now I'm going to do my filter whole example. This is where I am searching the entire data of the table and pulling back the rows if it matches something. So again, similar to the filter headers, I'm doing a filter whole. I'm sending in a search value of nothing, and I'm hitting evaluate. So then I come back over here, I'm getting my URL, I'm setting that in on my action of my form. I got my search label, I got my search input box, and I'm setting the value of the search, and I got my search button here. And then below that is I got my table data that I'm getting back from my Google Sheet, and I am displaying this with the I equals 0. I'm doing my outer loop with the I, my inner array with the J. I'm doing each row with the J here, displaying out. Every row past my header record up here. So if this is not equal 0, it's greater than 0 here, I'm getting my row array with the table and the I here. So I'm getting each row. The next thing I'm doing is I'm converting this to a string, the entire row, using this toString function here. It's a JavaScript one, and I'm also setting it to lowercase. This is so I can search this thing without having to be case sensitive. So now I got my string search. So I'm kind of taking all my row here and kind of stringing it. So then next thing I'm doing is I'm just searching within a string. So I got my string search. I'm doing an index of. That means I'm trying to find the location of my string that I'm searching. Search is the thing I inputted. Although the first time I'm calling this is going to be 0. So, but I'll go through as if I did put something in for search. Say I call this again. So again, I'm doing my search to lowercase. This is lowercase up here. So if it's not equal -1, so -1 means I couldn't find anything within this row. If it's greater than -1, then I found something. And then I added this here where search equals nothing. So if search equals nothing, then I wanted to pull the row no matter what. So either I have it populated and it's not equal to -1, or it's null to pull a row back. So if I'm not searching anything, it's going to display every row. If I am searching for something, then it's got to hit this for it to be good to display on the screen. So say it hits one of my searches, then it's going to display that row. So again, the first time I'm coming through, the search is going to be nothing, so it's going to display my entire table. So the next thing I do is I populate the search input, I hit the search button. It's going to take me over to my do post here. I got my search parameter coming out. I'm going to send that through the next time I call it. Setting this up again as a template, calling my file filter whole, evaluating it, comes back over. Again, my search is not equal to nothing, it's equal to this, so each row it finds something and it's going to display. So that goes through and explains both sides of this code, both examples that I have. So I'll go ahead and I will save this. I'll go ahead and publish it. I'm going to hit publish, deploy web app. I'm going to click new. I'm going to hit deploy. I'm going to go through authorization. Hit allow. I can use this here, my exec one. I could copy and paste that up here and that'll run, but in this one I'm just going to hit latest code. So here I have this, and if I type in orange, hit search, it's going to pull back my orange rows. So in my next example, I'm going to go back and show the other example. So I'm going to hit out of this, I'm going to get out of this, and now I'm going to comment this out, uncomment, comment this out, and uncomment. Alright, I'm going to go up here, I'm going to hit save, I'm going to hit publish, I'm going to hit deploy web app, I'm going to hit latest code. If I do want this to change to get to my latest code here, I'm going to have to revision it to hit new here again. But since I'm just going to test with this and show you a quick link, I'm going to hit latest code. So it's going to bring me up to my two fields of color and miles. And with miles, I can hit, say I just want to get this record to pull up, I can hit search. And it's going to pull me up with this row here. So that concludes this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below the video. Until next time.